But Senator Ted Cruz is now urging, as he has pretty consistently, just work through the recess, work weekends, let's get stuff done. We've got former Paul Ryan Chief of Staff David Hoppe, Independent Women Forum, Patrice Lee Onwuka. Patrice, how likely is that? I must be getting old because I remember hearing this a lot under different Congresses, different parties, work through the recess, work through the recess. They never do.
Well, I mean, this has gone from a periphery idea to something that's really palatable, given that there is not just dealing with repeal in a place of Obamacare, but the the 2018 budget, as well as the debt ceiling, as well as tax reform. So there are a lot of things that need to get done before the end of the year.
Do you think they're going to work through? Because I think these guys would sooner lose their seat than lose their vacation.
Well, if they go home without having anything to show for for the 7 months they've been in Washington, I think their constituents are going to be very concerned.
I agree with you. I just history begs otherwise. But David, what happens here? I mean, obviously they have a lot to do. The timeline is tough. But what do you think?
I think there's a couple of things they have to get done. In the Senate, there has to be some decision moving forward, one way or the other, on health care. In the House, they've got a couple of things they really have to look at. Number one is to finish the FY18 budget so they can start the process, which will get us to tax reform. Second one is a lot of members of the House, Republican members of the House, would like to start the appropriations process through a CR omnibus bill that they would start the process on and pass that before they go home for the August recess. Could I see a postponement of a week, a couple of weeks to get some of these things done? I think that's likely. But there is an importance to members going back to their states, to their districts, and talking to people about what they've done, where they're going. And they need some time for that. But I could see, given that the needs to get some of these things moving, that that's the first thing they would try and do, is try and get those things done. If it takes an extra week or 2 weeks, then they would possibly do that. Do people like it? No. Yeah. Is it necessary? It may be necessary this year. And it rarely is necessary, but we'll have to see. And that's a decision, ultimately, that the membership will make as a group.
I understand what you're saying. You know, Patrice, obviously, you can go back home to find out how annoyed your constituents are, or you can just, you know, flip through all the various news channels here. Now, I think that can be in the eye of the beholder, but if they do stay even a week or two to iron out some of this thing, like the debt thing could be a big deal. But obviously some of them are trying to rally around something on the health care front. If they don't get that addressed and they have to put it off and move on to tax cuts, how will that go down?
Oh, it's going to be a bloody massacre when they go home. I mean, you're going to have people saying, you know, we've put you in office. It's been how many election cycles that you've been telling us about repealing Obamacare, and you haven't delivered on that. And I mean, it doesn't bode well for the rest of the Trump administration's agenda, given that we have a Republican House, Republican Senate, and Republican president. If you can't get this basic thing done, what can you get done? And, you know, by the way, this is not unprecedented. We saw that the Civil War, World War I and II, even Hurricane Katrina, Congress did work through the summer to get some serious business done.
Well, not the whole summer. To David's point, not the whole summer, but you're quite right. There is precedent for this. But, David, let's say they don't get their agenda done this year. They have to put off the health care fix next year, the tax cuts next year. I would imagine that is still going to be bad for Republicans, and late won't be better than never.
The policy accomplishments are the primary thing. That's what you have to get done. Now, the sooner you get them done, the better. The better for the economy, the better for growth, for jobs, the better to straighten out the health care mess that we have growing in the United States. But if they are not successful in getting this particular health care plan done, that's not going to be the end of the work they're going to do on health care. I think taxes and the budget may start moving ahead of health care, but they will continue to work on it in this Congress, and I think they will achieve some of these. But policy goals and achieving those policy goals are the highest priority for, obviously, the President, but also Senator McConnell and Speaker Ryan.
Yeah, they need to show
That's what they think they need to do to help to support Republicans, because that will be good for the economy, that will be good for people's health care, that will be good for the United States.
And that will be good for the markets. Guys, thank you both very, very much. Great having you.